You'll have to excuse me, I have a cold today. But it's alright, I've got my tea, which I'm trying to get into. I'm trying to like tea, but it's just, I'm such like a sugar junkie that it's just not sweet enough for me. So if anybody has any tips on how to make tea taste more delightful, let me know. And yes, I've tried honey and cinnamon sticks. So yeah, you have to excuse me, I am sick, and you can hear it, so I sound more mannish than usual today. But I've got my tea. It's a cloudy, gloomy day out. It's probably gonna storm, which I'm really excited about. And I've got my candle. Oh, my vanilla candle. Oh, I love candles, and I love the smell of vanilla. So we are good to go. First, I wanted to say thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed. I know I've said that before, but I could never say it enough. Every person that subscribes to my channel, it means a lot, so thank you. And thank you also to those of you who've been commenting and sending me emails. It's awesome to hear from you guys. That's why I want to do these channels, so thank you. Your feedback and everything means a lot. I also wanted to let you guys know that I just bought some more stuff from Redbubble. I'm so excited. I will let you guys know when I'm wearing a piece from Redbubble, but today I'm actually wearing one of the first things I ever bought. Again, Zelda, my fellow Zelda fans will know the coolness of this tank top, but I wanted to make a video to kind of give you guys what it sounds like you have wanted me to talk about. One of my most viewed videos that I have ever done, which I haven't done that many, was the one talking about ADHD in women. And speaking of my ADHD, I am I'm in the process of getting back on my ADHD medication. I've had a lot of questions about ADHD medication, and like I said, I am no expert, but I could tell you my personal experience and what kind of, there's the crying that happens every single video. I can let you guys know what kind of medication I'm taking, and maybe if you're interested, do some daily vlogs that kind of focus around that and the process of me adjusting to the medication, what kind of things I experience, what my experience is with it. So if you guys are interested in that, I can definitely do that once I start taking the medication. I thought it might be interesting to talk to you guys about some other stuff that I have going on or have had going on my whole life that are kind of along the same lines as ADHD, or maybe even are due to my ADHD or are aggravated by my ADHD, things like that. So first of all, I have ADHD. Clearly, we've made that very clear. I also have anxiety. Had this since I was a child. Depression, or bouts with recurring depression. Sorry, my daughter that was crying, I brought her down here to sleep with me, and I think my voice keeps waking her up. So anxiety, depression. I also have what I would call a mild case of PTSD due to sexual abuse that I went through. I can do a whole different video on that. I plan to sometime in the future, and I've touched on it a little bit in my clergy sexual abuse video, but I can go into my whole story maybe at some point. PTSD due to sexual abuse, recurring depression, anxiety, ADHD. This is the main plethora of things that I am dealing with or have dealt with or deal with off and on in my life. Now, a disclaimer, again, I always like to do disclaimers on this kind of video. I am not an expert at all. I am just doing this and talking to you guys based on my own life and my own experience, which can be very helpful to people, sometimes even more so than just all the confusing terms and everything. So this is all just based on my experience, things that I've studied, because I've studied psychology in college for a couple years, and various therapists and things that they've told me. I figured today I could start by talking about my anxiety. Anxiety as a mental illness is difficult. I've had anxiety since I was little. I used to get very stressed about everything. I had a phobia of when people would throw up. If I was to throw up, if someone near me was to throw up, if I even heard that somebody that I was now in contact with had thrown up, it caused me intense stress and anxiety So that was one of my biggest anxiety triggers. Now everybody's anxiety is different. It looks different from person to person, kind of like I said with the ADHD. But most people will have certain triggers, certain things that make them especially prone to anxiety attacks. For me, growing up, and somewhat still now, I wouldn't say that I have a phobia of people throwing up anymore, but it's definitely not something I enjoy. I don't know who enjoys that, but it's something that is still sort of a source of stress for me. And this was so debilitating. I wouldn't eat my lunch at school because it's like if I eat lunch, I'm putting food in my stomach, which could make me feel sick. Whereas if I didn't eat, then there's no food in my stomach, and so I can't feel sick as easily, and maybe I won't throw up. Yeah, I was a very anxious child. Thought of road trips made me anxious. Being trapped in that car and driving for long stretches. Any sort of change made me really anxious, which is ironic because the life I live now is full of change and full of moving. We've moved so many times. So now as I'm a little bit older, I handle things much better because I've kind of been forced to be in these situations that trigger my anxiety, but I've just learned to cope. Some of the things I've gotten a lot better at, as I said, the fear of the throwing up or people all around me throwing up has gotten significantly better, but I'm still prone to another really fun thing that people who suffer more severely with anxiety experience, and that is panic attacks. Now, you don't have to have anxiety to experience panic attacks. I feel like most people probably at some point in their life have experienced a panic attack and maybe just don't understand that's what it is. Panic attacks can be that feeling where you all of a sudden feel like, I'm dying. I can feel it, like my life is slipping away, I'm dying. That can be a panic attack. Sometimes they're not quite like that. I've had situations where I've had a panic attack and it wasn't that feeling of I'm dying. It can be just really strong physical reactions, like I've had instances where it feels like I am having trouble breathing. That's very common. I've had situations where I just feel like I need to get out, I need to get some fresh air. Not because I feel like I can't breathe, but I'm just all of a sudden feeling really claustrophobic, really uncomfortable. Sometimes I have waves of nausea, sweating, and most of the time what a lot of people, or I should say why a lot of people don't recognize that they're having a panic attack is a lot of people have this misconception that to have a panic attack, you have to be stressed out in the moment. This is not true at all. I have found that most of my panic attacks come when I'm relaxed. Like maybe I've just been through a rough time and it's been like a week, and I'll be feeling good and then I'll have a panic attack and it's like, oh my gosh. And it's such a bummer because you're actually feeling good and you'd think the panic attacks would happen in the midst of your biggest stress, but that's not how it always happens. Another misconception that people have is that you have to be stressed out about something bad. Honestly, I have been anxious and stressed out about something really good, like let's say I'm gonna go on some big trip and I'm really excited, but there's a lot to plan, there's a lot to get ready for. That's stressful, and sometimes things like that, if you have anxiety, can, oh my gosh, sorry. There's like a big knot in my hair right now. Sometimes you could be stressed and have anxiety over positive things. There's positive stressors in your life that can cause you, well, stress. Anxiety can be really difficult. It makes life difficult, and depending on what your triggers are, it can become crippling for some people. I am such an anxious person, and being a mom is already stressful enough, and then when I have anxiety on top of it, it's like I'm worrying about everything with my kids. And it's just, it's rough sometimes. Of course, I love my girls more than life, and I'm so thankful for them, but it does like jack up my anxiety quite a bit. Some other triggers I have is I always need to be near an exit. I always need to know my way out, but it's just something that gives me comfort. It kind of eases my anxiety. Even if I'm in Walmart, I've had panic attacks. I've been in the store and I've been having a panic attack, and something as simple as like knowing that I'm close to an exit will like really ease my panic. Just last month I had a panic attack in Walmart and wasn't close to the exit. So I had to like move myself to be close to the exit, and that like really helped alleviate and relieve my anxiety. I will not be getting medicated for anxiety. As I said, I'm going to be getting medication for ADHD that my therapist in Alaska had recommended for me. And given my specific case, as I said, I'm not an expert. Everybody's anxiety, everybody's ADHD, everybody's depression, everything like that is different. So you need to talk to a doctor or a therapist about the sort of things that you're experiencing. For me personally, my therapist thinks that my anxiety and my depression specifically are made worse by my ADHD. She said by treating the ADHD, you could be taking care of the anxiety and the depression by medicating. The nature of ADHD, it makes your brain, I mean, just think about it. You've got anxiety, and anxiety is you worry and you stress about things. So when you have ADHD, not only are you already like stressing about stuff, but when you have ADHD and your mind like goes into a million different directions, my anxiety could be caused by my ADHD, or you know, my ADHD and my anxiety could be two totally separate things. But in either case, even if my anxiety is not due to my ADHD, the ADHD and the thinking a million different things instead of just already having anxiety about one thing, but then you're thinking about, with ADHD, a million other scenarios and a million wrong things that could happen and a million just problems, that for sure, at the very least, is agitating my anxiety. Whereas depression, same kind of thing. So my therapist said by treating the ADHD, I should be helping take care of the depression and the anxiety, which that is my hope. I've only been on medication once before. It was for a very short time, just basically long enough to see what the effects of the medication would be, and I was very happy with it. I stopped it because I was pregnant, or I was going to be trying to get pregnant. So I was sad I had to stop it, but I'm going to be getting back on it, as I said at the beginning of the video, so stay tuned if you'd like to know more stuff about that. There you go, there's my experience, kind of in a nutshell, about anxiety, my anxiety, some of my specific triggers. Some people, you know, have very specific, like, social anxiety and things like that. I don't know that I could tell you what my specific type of anxiety is. All I know is I'm just an anxious person. I worry about everything and anything, and I have specific triggers like I mentioned, but I'm just one little anxiety individual. I hope you guys have a good day. I am off to be cozy, and hopefully this cloudiness turns into a storm, and I will talk to you guys soon. I actually could be naked right now. Wait. Yeah, I could be naked right now. Oh, just kidding, I have a shirt on. I didn't realize that whole video that it looked like I was naked.